So what's today's topic? I know it's a little bit different today.
Yeah, a little bit different today. I I was trying to think of topics on just kind of videos that we could do, and I kind of landed on like one of the most basic ones, just because it's basic and I don't have an imagination. Um,
Not true,
so
not true, not true.
it's true. So today we're gonna be doing our personal Mount Rushmores of wrestlers, and we're not doing eras. We're not doing, or I'm sorry, we're not doing like Mount Rushmore of this specific era or this specific era. We're not doing men's or women's. We're doing it as a whole. So if you feel like your top four is all women, then that's what it's gonna be. I also want to preface this by saying that what we believe are the best doesn't necessarily mean it's our favorites. So I kind of just wanted to do something a little different this week, just to put it out there, see if you guys agree on stuff or disagree on stuff or want to argue with us or anything like that. Please feel free.
Oh,
We'll take all the comments that we could possibly get right now, and let's just have some discussions back and forth. So I want to
awesome.
open this up, Marvin, by letting you go first, and we'll just go back and forth. You'll say one, I'll say one.
Say one, I'll say one. Okay, cool.
And then yeah, just give like a. I mean, it doesn't need to be a full essay on why you believe this person is up there, but just a small description on why you picked this specific person, and then we'll just go from there.
That sounds clean. Yeah, like I said, this isn't scripted. This isn't anything. This is just
Right.
us talking. Let's enjoy it, and let's get to it then. All right, bro. Since I'm going first one for me, Shawn Michaels, HBK, Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. So here's the thing with Shawn Michaels. I understand that I wasn't, I was probably a baby during his time when he was like doing crazy stuff. But a while back, years back actually, remember I told you that I bought that video, right? The history of Shawn Michaels, and oh my god, dude, I watched
Yeah,
that.
you let me borrow it.
I let you
I
borrow it,
remember.
right? Right on. Dude, I watched that so many times. So it was a 3 disc, right? It was during his beginnings, and no, it was during his rocker time with the Rockers. Then during his like edgy DX era, and then when his comeback in 2000 what was it, 2002, I believe,
Yeah.
and then all the way to when he won the World Heavyweight. Yeah, dude, for me, Shawn Michaels. When I started seeing more on his like edgy side, the whole DX, because for me DX was, I remember in 2006 when they came back, but
Right.
that was my first time seeing DX.
Right.
I never knew that group. I didn't know they had a history like in the 90s or anything like that. So watching Shawn Michaels at that time, I know everybody, Stone Cold is the epitome of like the Attitude Era, but to me, dude, Shawn Michaels was Attitude before the Attitude Era. He was the one that kind of started this thing. But the reason that, the whole situation with him versus The Undertaker in that casket match, I believe in 98, that's what messed up his back. So
Right.
that's why his last match was with Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 14. But I personally believe that if Shawn had been okay, this is not accounting for his politics, how he was backstage. Let's kind of like forget that. We can talk about that a little bit after. But for me, if he had continued on, I think he would have been maybe not the guy, but one of the guys. And I think his feud with Austin during that peak of the Attitude Era would have just been bangers, bangers after bangers after bangers. Because I already enjoyed his rivalry with Stone Cold, but that wasn't really the Attitude Era quite yet. It was kind of like the
Right.
precursor to it.
Right before it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was still not quite there yet. But oh man, if he had been a part, more of that during the wars with WCW, dude, I think they would have won that war a lot sooner. In my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, Shawn Michaels is number one. He's my number one. Mount Rushmore.
So how do you feel about Bret Hart?
Hey, I'm a Shawn Michaels fan till the end, bro. Bret Hart, yeah, sure, he's great, but I'm always gonna pick HBK all day, every day.
No, I mean that's a solid choice. I mean, you hear a lot of people always say that Shawn Michaels is the greatest in-ring performer of all time. I 100% completely understand why people say that. I don't agree. I would say that the person that I'm about to say is actually the best in-ring performer of all time, and that's the phenomenal AJ Styles.
Woo!
When you talk about somebody that's just had literally a phenomenal career from beginning to end, you got to think about AJ Styles. He's literally had 4 Hall of Fame careers in 4 different companies. There's a reason why when he officially retired a few weeks ago, they inducted him right away.
Mm.
When he finally came to WWE in 2016, and when he debuted at the Rumble, it was just first his debut was it's hard not to say phenomenal so much because you know who he is, but
Say it.
there's a
Say it.
reason there's a reason why it's his nickname, you know what I mean? um, so when he first came to WWE during that debut, it was just an amazing debut. Everybody was so excited to have him here. He's a 2-time world champ with WWE, and that second time was probably one of the best world champion reigns that I have personally seen in a long time. It was what 370 some days, something along the lines of that. First, he took it from Jinder Mahal, which was just a stupid reign to have in the first place. And then he went on to just have banger after banger after banger after banger. I know a lot of people don't like the Shinsuke WrestleMania match because they feel like maybe it wasn't the right person to win. I feel like it was the right person to win. He had amazing matches with John Cena. He had amazing matches with Brock Lesnar, which is hard for a lot of people to say, to have an amazing match with Brock Lesnar. Any person that you put into the ring with an AJ Styles, you knew that you were going to have a phenomenal match. This isn't even talking about his TNA days where he started out. You can't say TNA without thinking about AJ Styles. Again, I believe he was like a 2 or 3-time world champ. Don't quote me 100% because I really can't think of it off the top of my head right now.
Mhm.
But specifically speaking about TNA, like I said, when you think about TNA, you think AJ Styles. You think of just again the amazing matches that he had throughout his entire career there, and then he went over to, was it Ring of Honor, and he was doing those simultaneously for a short amount of time. Phenomenal career there. And then where I believe was kind of the epitome of his career was when he went over to Japan. He wasn't the creator of the Bullet Club, but I believe that he was the reason that the Bullet Club became as popular as it eventually did. When Kenny took over as the leader of the Bullet Club after AJ left, he was left. It was like the equivalent of being left with like the most amazing U.S. economy ever. Like it was just at that point, it was easy for him. You know what I mean? So again, to me, AJ is again the best in ring performer. It doesn't matter who was in there with him; it was going to be an amazing match. I'm sad that his time is up and he's officially gone. But I'm also excited for that that Hall of Fame induction. So my number one, AJ Styles.
I just thought, great choice, dude. I wanted to add a little more to his how he is Mr. TNA,
Right.
because back for us, what, almost 20 years ago, crazy that we
20,
get to say that now. 20
22
years ago,
years. 22 years.
22 years. Wow, 20
Yeah.
plus years. You know how there was that little like, hey, either you're a WWE fan or you're a TNA fan,
Right.
But I do remember seeing just random episodes of TNA, and yeah, TNA AJ Styles.
Yep.
It's like those. That's interchangeable at that point.
Yep.
I AJ Styles, for me, I saw him in TNA. That's where I first saw him, and I was just like, whoa, this guy. And I remember during that time that one of the dream matches was Shawn Michaels versus AJ Styles. Like everyone was just like, yo, this match would hit, and it would have absolutely hit.
Yeah.
Both of these guys in their peak, in their prime, it would have been amazing. But one thing I wanted to ask you though. So we all know that Shawn Michaels, like his 2 best matches were with The Undertaker, right? At WrestleMania. Which matches would you say are AJ Styles, like at that would be at that level?
So there was the Shinsuke match at Wrestle Kingdom. I don't remember the exact year that it was. And it's maybe kind of a recency bias kind of take, but I believe that the match with John Cena in Perth is up there.
It's up there.
That match, the John Cena one specifically, was just it was a love letter to wrestling. Everything about that match from beginning to end was just it was chef's kiss from the start. There was nothing in that match that like I was drawn to it like it was crazy. I couldn't take my eyes off of this match, and um, I don't know if that's his best match of all time,
Mhm.
but it's definitely up there. But yeah, I would say those two would probably be the best matches that at least I've seen of him. I haven't seen 100% of his matches, but those two are definitely up there. And then I also kind of forgot to say, but he's also one of the only people to win a TNA World Championship, the
Mm.
NWA World Championship, an IWGP World Championship, and a WWE World Championship. So when I say that he's
Wow.
had 4 different Hall of Fame careers in 4 different companies, it's true. So
Yeah. It's what? It's phenomenal.
it's phenomenal.
Right on, right on. Awesome. Well, I'm pretty sure this might be on your list too, but it's just got to be said. Transitioning from his match with John Cena, my second one, Mr. John Cena himself. He is just he's the GOAT. That's it. He's the GOAT, Mr. 17. For John Cena, and I believe you're going to agree with me with this. We saw him since we were little. That he was the guy that we first saw when we got into wrestling.
Yep.
From WrestleMania 21, our first WrestleMania, watching it together, which was amazing, and it's crazy that how long ago that was. But seeing John Cena win, wearing shorts, doing this to people because John Cena does it. So, you know, no, John Cena was the guy. One thing for me, and I think it's just showing growth because I remember that time when we all started to dislike John Cena just because
Not me.
it felt like everything. Not
Not me. Shit.
except my boy right here. But that time when everything seemed like it was given to him, and it just wrestling went PG. I do remember people just ignorant or just not knowing how it works. People blaming like, oh, it's because John Cena, like, we went from the Austin 316 to the Rock, and now we just have this, so it's just pretty whack and this and that. But just knowing that whole story, that whole tragedy with should we say his name or no? I think we all know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
Mr. CB. Knowing how John Cena was one of the guys that kept this company alive because they had to transition, they had to move to a PG
Yep.
rating because of that situation. So for me, John Cena's just like, this is the guy. Like, he stuck through it. Because of him, this company kept going and going. And I mean, he has bangers. I know people like to say that, hey, he can't wrestle, he can't do this, the 5 moves of doom, all this and that. Yo, he has bangers. He had a banger with CM Punk, AJ Styles. Like, he's hanging with these guys that are supposed to be. Oh, what's up? My bad.
No. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, like he's hanging. Oh, all good, all good. He's hanging with these guys that are considered like the best in the world. So to me, John Cena is one of the greats. And again, the heel run, he made it great. It could have been a lot better, but it still worked out. It's still John Cena. He got his 17th title, well deserved. Man, that's pretty much it. John Cena. I grew up with John Cena. Saw his career from the beginning till the end. It's amazing, amazing, right?
So I don't know if I ever told you the story about how I got into professional wrestling. It was by accident.
Wow.
So I remember I was in the 4th grade. So yeah, 2004. This would have been like a couple of months before you and I met. I remember a couple of my classmates had come up to me, and it was the weekend of WrestleMania 20, and they were like, "Hey, are you gonna watch WrestleMania this weekend?" And me being me, not wanting to sound, like a weirdo, I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna watch WrestleMania. Like, I know what that is, right?" I had no idea what that was at the time.
Oh, what?
So what I ended up doing was I went home and I told my mom, and I was like, "Hey, like, there's WrestleMania this weekend. Do you think we can order it on pay-per-view?" I don't know why she decided to say yes, but she said yes, and we ordered it, and it was WrestleMania 20. The opening match for that show was John Cena versus The Big Show for the U.S. title. At that moment, I fell in love with professional wrestling. And here we are, 22 years later, and I'm still in love with professional wrestling, and John Cena is the number one reason why I fell in love with professional wrestling.
Yeah.
There's a reason that I wanted to see him as many times as I possibly could on the retirement tour. There's a reason that I went to the last match.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, John Cena he's that guy for us. I would like to say.
Yeah.
And then the whole you can't wrestle stuff, like it never made sense to me. Yeah, yeah, there was the 5 moves of doom or whatever, but piggybacking off of your number one, John Cena has as many 5-star matches as Shawn Michaels does.
Yeah.
He
100%.
this year alone, or sorry, last year alone during the retirement tour, I could think of 2 bad matches, and that was the Brock match and Cody Cena won at WrestleMania. Outside of that, every other match was a banger, bro. It didn't matter who was in the ring with him. It didn't matter how short the match was or how long the match was. They were all bangers. The couple R-Truth matches were good. The Randy match was good. The CM Punk match was good. Cody 2 was good. Logan was good. We talked about AJ Styles was good. The Chamber was good, bro. As much opinion as a lot of people have about the Gunther match, that thing was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, it just I completely understand why you would have John Cena on your personal Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, John Cena. What he's the guy. He was the guy. We still talk about him. We're gonna be talking about him. So he has to be on that list,
Yep.
man.
My personal number 2 on this Mount Rushmore list is a guy who made me fall in love with the art of lucha. Again, I started to watch professional wrestling in 2004 when he was a champion. He had a great match with Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 20, and that's none other than the late great Eddie Guerrero. When I say that he made me fall in love with the art of lucha, it still holds true to this day. During I only got to see Eddie for about a year and a half, before his untimely passing. And in that year and a half, man, he made me fall in love with everything that he was doing, whether he was a babyface or a heel. There wasn't a single time where I disliked what he was doing in the ring, or anything that I disliked with his character or anything along the lines of that. To this day, whenever something comes up about Eddie Guerrero, man, it still hits you pretty hard. It's just one of those things that, like, it's just not fair, one of the reasons why I love Dominic so much right now is because he embodies a lot of what Eddie Guerrero was doing, all the way back then. And at the same time, it bums me out a lot because I would have loved to have seen what Dominic and Eddie could have done together. With character work or whatever it is. His matches with Brock at No Way Out when he won the championship. His match, like I said, with Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 20. His matches with Rey. There was the custody of Dominic Mysterio match, which was a funny gimmick, but the match itself was really good. There was a Halloween Havoc match against Rey Mysterio back in WCW. And even like going back and watching a lot of his Japan stuff, I'm sorry, I really it's still sad to talk about,
It is.
21 almost 21 years later. But I'm really glad that I at least got to see Eddie Guerrero for that short amount of time. And I'm really glad that, professional wrestling is one of those things where they did a really good job at documenting a lot of, their history. So you're able to go back and watch a lot of this stuff that, maybe you missed out on or you were too young to watch at the time. So yeah, Eddie Guerrero is going to be, my number 2 on this list. We miss you every day, Eddie, and it still sucks.
Eddie, it does. Well, that was going to be another person on my list, so here we go. Just to keep talking a little bit more about Eddie, man, because Eddie. I remember, man, I was a kid, and I remember my dad. He took me to my first SmackDown show. It wasn't like a, it was just like a house.
Hmm.
I think that's what they would call it, like a house show. It's just kind
Yeah.
of, let's call it a non-canon episode.
Right.
Yeah, that was the first time I saw Eddie, and oh my god, just you already see him on TV, and he's just amazing. But seeing him in person was different. Like the moves, everything he does, it just looks different. It just looks like a superhero doing all this stuff, and then just him talking to the audience and the audience reacting is like, man, that's just a gift. I that's where when I first saw him, and I'm just like, yo, this is the guy. Top of that, being Hispanic, he's the
Right.
guy. I know he's Mexican. We're not Mexican, but still, he's Hispanic. That's still representing the people from all Latinos and everybody. But what did I want to mention? I wanted to talk about. I think me and you have talked about this, but let's just bring it up again. How Eddie was supposed to be a part of that first SmackDown versus Raw stuff. Do you remember that first one, the 2005?
The game.
No, not the game. The SmackDown versus Raw at Survivor Series, where it was Shawn, Big Show, Kane, Carlito,
Oh yeah,
Chris
yeah,
Master,
yeah, yeah.
Batista, Bobby Lashley, Randy,
Mhm.
JBL, Rey Mysterio. Eddie was supposed to be a part of that. I think who I don't know if it was either with Bobby or Randy, but he was supposed to take one of their spots.
Mhm.
And they were supposedly they were going to lead up to a WrestleMania match against Shawn Michaels. That was supposed to be the match that was going to be, I believe, before he died. What was it? I want to say Wrestle. Which one was it where he fought John Cena? Where Shawn Michaels fought John Cena?
That was 22.
22. I think around
Yeah.
that time, that was going to be the storyline that they were going to lead up to just these two legends, these two Hall of Famers. Again, Eddie's untimely passing happened, so all of that had to get scrapped. But I can't remember where I found the source. So, I could be wrong, but I do remember reading about that. And I think I told you about it too. And we would have conversations about this.
Yeah, I
But
vaguely remember that.
yeah. And I remember just first reading it, just like, man, that would have been something. Imagine Shawn Michaels versus Eddie Guerrero at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like that. Oh, man. One match that I recently saw was, I don't know if it was in Ring of Honor or just another indie promotion, but I'm thinking it was Ring of Honor. It was a triple threat match, and it was him, Rey Mysterio, and a young CM Punk.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
if,
I remember
if it was a young CM Punk, that was Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor, most likely, right? And that was just a good match. And then just seeing a young CM Punk, and I remember CM Punk talking about it, just saying that at the time he thought he was on top of the world. Nobody can touch him until he met Eddie Guerrero.
Yep.
And he saw that, yo, there's another level to this game. So, oh man, that was a really good match too. I think someone posted a clip on it, so I was watching it on Instagram, and I'm just like, wow, like this is crazy. 3 legends right here,
Yeah.
So, oh man, but yeah, R.I.P. Mr. Eddie Guerrero. Hey, but I'm happy that we got Dom. Dom is doing great. Dom is this new generation's Eddie Guerrero.
Yep.
I'm loving that.
And to add a little bit more to it, you don't ever hear anybody who worked with him say a bad thing about him. As much as we love John Cena, there's been stories out there that maybe he wasn't the best person to work with, especially during the prime of his career between like 2009 to like 2015ish, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, again, and maybe it's just me, but I've never heard anybody say a bad thing about Eddie. It's always been nothing but praise about his in-ring work, his character work, his actual being as a person. And then on top of that, when we go back to his in-ring work, there's been so many times that I've heard that he doesn't like, or he didn't like to talk about matches beforehand. He liked to call them all in the ring, which to me is insane, because you look at the caliber of matches that he had throughout his career, and if he was calling those in the ring, like this is we're talking about a different beast, a different level to his knowledge and his love for professional wrestling. So again, he's my number 2. Looks like he's your number 3. Again, we miss you, Eddie.
Yeah.
Always. So moving on to my number 3, this is where it starts to get kind of tricky, because there's so many people that I would like to add to this. And you might be a little bit surprised about who I'm gonna say. Maybe not, because me. But
excited.
it's gonna be somebody that's current, somebody that's working right now and is doing a phenomenal job in everything that she does.
Oh.
I truly believe that right now she is the best in-ring worker on the planet. And that's none other than the genius of the sky, Io Sky. Again, similar to somebody like an AJ Styles, it doesn't matter who you put in the ring with her, she's going to do phenomenal work.
Mm-hmm.
The only downside that I could say to Io Sky, and it's not her fault, it's all in the booking, unfortunately, is that her 2 world title reigns weren't the greatest. After she won the title from Rhea this most recent time, she kind of disappeared for a while. And then there was the whole build up to WrestleMania. She ended up winning the triple threat, and then she disappeared again. But that being said, when she did have matches at any point between, or during her title reign, they were all amazing. There was a reason that they ended up, or she ended up being part of the main event of last year's Evolution pay-per-view. I'm sorry, PLE. And that match itself, for me, was in the running for match of the year. Obviously, the end was a little. It wasn't what we expected because there was the cash in from Naomi. But regardless, everything up until that point was just amazing, and even the cash in itself was amazing. Again, that WrestleMania triple threat match to me was match of the weekend. I believe that it was better than the Roman, Punk, and Seth triple threat. It was just go from the start. Her chemistry that she has with Rhea Ripley, dude, that right now to me is unmatched by anybody out there. Again, no matter what she does or who she's in the ring with, that you're gonna get a banger of a match. The couple matches that she had with Stephanie before WrestlePalooza were amazing, and then it tops out at WrestlePalooza, where Stephanie ends up winning the vacant world title at that point. Bro, no matter what this woman does, it is going to be amazing. And every time she's on screen, I'm excited. Even when it's not the most riveting thing, I'm still really excited because I know that whatever match comes of it is going to be a fucking phenomenal match. So Io Sky is my number 3 on my personal Mount Rushmore.
Great.
Yeah, man. I love everything about her. I had the privilege of meeting her.
That's right.
A year, and I just hella randomly at one of the shows. Man, she was. And she was the nicest person too. She's super humble. So that definitely helps my opinion of her, obviously. But I love me some Io Sky, man.
No, I'm happy. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, when you sent me that picture, I was just like, oh my god, that is so awesome. Dude, I was so happy for you because I know Io's your top. You one of your tops, man. Oh man, that was great. No, but I like that you brought that up, the matches against Stephanie, because I was gonna bring that up too. Oh, those matches! I remember it was the first episode of Raw after WrestleMania, and then you just hear Stephanie's music, and you're just like, whoa, these two are gonna get down. Great match. Second match was also great, and then that third one, wow, just anything where Io's at is just gonna be money. That's 100% guaranteed. Oh man, I wanted to mention something else about Io, but can't really remember. But I do agree, her title run, not on her. Just it just wasn't the great. She did disappear. She had that in my opinion, 5-star match against Rhea. Man, that match had. I think last time I said Revolution, that was my mistake. It's just Evolution, not Revolution. That match was just amazing. I remember just watching it. I'm like, oh man, I hope this match isn't gonna end soon. I just, because they were doing everything. I've never seen a women's match like that. I personally think, I know we were talking about it a little earlier. I think that match was better than Bayley's and Sasha, in my opinion.
Really?
I think that match was a lot better.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, they're both top matches, fire matches, but I would have to pick Io versus Rhea because it was just something amazing. I remember even. I think after the show ended, Big E was just this match. He started clapping, and he was just he couldn't even say anything. He was just like, "Wow, I'm speechless." And honestly, I felt like that too. Just seeing how far these women have come.
Yeah.
And that's why to me, I was just so upset. Where then we didn't get anything more like that after. I was like, oh man, I hope we get another match. I hope, but it's fine. You know, hopefully we get something soon from Io, because Io deserves to be in the main event. She's earned it. Also, I loved how the is finally cut off. I remember seeing that all the time, and I'm like, that's so cool, because I see that the group Baby Metal, they do that too, and I'm like, hey, that's so cool, and I see Io doing it, and I'll never forget that first fan that when it shows the camera angle and it shows the fans behind her, it was this one guy, he was going all out.
He got up like hella fast. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
he started it, man. Whoever you are, you're a legend, bro, because you started that, in my opinion. But no, yeah, Io, great choice. Definitely there. Was gonna be one of my choices too, so we can agree there. But so for me, I'm at number 4. Yo, none other than Mr. CM Punk, man. Oh my gosh, CM Punk. I'll never forget his promo in 2006 when we had that revamped ECW version in the beginning. You know, when Paul Heyman was in charge. I'll never forget his intro. Just this random guy talking about being straight edge, his addiction, his wrestling, and everything. I'm just like, who is this guy? Looks different. Like, he's not a jacked up dude. You know, I'm used to seeing John Cena, Batista. You know, the only non-jacked up dudes I would like, oh, okay, I'm a fan of them, was Eddie, Rey Mysterio at the time. You know,
Eddie was still pretty jacked.
And Eddie himself was still pretty jacked too. Yeah. And yeah, I just see this guy, CM Punk, and I'm like, who is this guy? You know, like, and then he has I think his first match, was it with Hardcore Holly? I believe?
That sounds right, but I really don't remember.
I think it was with Hardcore Holly, and I'm just like, whoa, this was a really good match, like insane. And then I just remember just watching more CM Punk, and it got to the point where that whole ECW thing kind of collapsed because Paul Heyman either got fired or he left. And then we had this new ECW that was just not it. But I do remember that a lot of the originals did accept CM Punk as one of them, because CM Punk just had that edgy style as well. And for me, after that, I do remember when like the WWE was getting a little stale. I think after, what was it, like 2010, around that era. And I remember CM Punk had come out as a commentator, and I'm like, whoa, CM Punk is so entertaining as a commentator. I'll never forget this one episode where John Cena, he was fighting someone, and he does a move on the commentator table, and all you hear is CM Punk's like, John, my soda, you dropped my soda. Like, he was so angry about his soda. Like, my soda. And then I remember the next week's episode, John actually picked up his soda, and he's just like, you know, there you go, it's fine, you're good. And I just thought he was so great on just, you know, at commentary. I'm like, all right. And then, you know, it came up that he was gonna be the Nexus leader, the new leader, and it just led to all that. And then he had a great match with Randy Orton. That was one of my favorite matches at WrestleMania. But dude, I'll never forget the pipe bomb. When I first saw that on TV, it was just one of those things where, like, Raw's supposed to end at 8, right? The next, whatever was gonna come up next should start. It was like 8:15, I believe, and Raw was still going. Like, CM Punk was about to throw that legend of a promo, and then as soon as he's just talking smack about Vince, Triple H, and Stephanie, I'm like, yo, what is happening? From that Monday, I remember, like, yo, I need it to be Monday ASAP. I need to know what's next. What are we gonna see? What are we gonna watch? That pipe bomb to me was just like, this guy, he is the guy. I don't understand why. He was putting bangers in the past, you know, with Jeff Hardy, with his Straight Edge Society clique that he was in. I thought that was great. He was the bad guy. Like, everybody hated him. He was so good at it. But yeah, man, I remember the pipe bomb, and then the Summer of Punk. You know, he had great matches with Brock. He had a great match with Brock Lesnar. Someone like a CM Punk's like body like structure, having a great match with Brock Lesnar. I thought it was really great. It was in SummerSlam 2013, I believe. On top of that, Money in the Bank with John Cena, another banger. That crowd was just, it was as close as it was to ECW when John Cena fought RVD.
Right.
That's the vibe I got when I first saw that, and I'm just like, whoa, I'm kind of worried these guys might actually riot if CM Punk doesn't win, because the Chicago fans for CM Punk, they're like this, man. They're like this. But yeah, and then, you know, after that, you know, I wanted to talk more about when he left. You know, usually when wrestlers leave after a year or two, or maybe less, okay, they're gone, whatever. Right. Top of that, CM Punk was talking a lot of smack about the company, this and that. I'm like, oh, he's gonna get forgotten. Like, that's kind of the end, you know. For 7 years, they chanted his name every episode, every chance they could get. Like, Imagine reaching that level. You're not in this company anymore, and your name is still getting chanted. Like you can't even edit this out anymore because it's just hard at that point.
Right.
You have to. And then for me, the point where they had to actually respond to it, I think Stephanie McMahon had to respond to it by saying something along the lines like, "Oh, you lasted longer than his UFC match" or something like that. Like just the fact that you had to actually acknowledge that, yo, these guys are chanting CM Punk, you know?
Right.
Because usually when you chant something, you're just not supposed to acknowledge it. You know, you're trying to forget about them, make they're not important or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. They couldn't do that with CM Punk. Top of that, CM Punk's title reign, it was great. Like he was having bangers. His promos was on top. One of my favorite ones is the one with The Rock. The "Your arms are too short to box with God." That
Right.
line is still so famous till this day. And I don't know if you ever saw this, but when that game WWE 13 came out,
Mm-hmm.
and CM Punk is in the cover in that
Yeah.
one, they did he did like a little promo with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Do you remember seeing that?
No, I don't.
No. Maybe another video that can be something we watch because it is so great. Because at the time, we had John Cena versus The Rock,
Mm-hmm.
so everybody was excited for that. But then we're like, yo, we have Stone Cold and CM Punk, two guys that are the same but different,
Right.
because they were both rebels in their era, and that promo was really good, dude. At the time, it made you believe that like, yo, Stone Cold may be coming back.
Right.
So maybe in another video we can watch the
Yeah.
so we can show your reaction to it. I just thought it was so good. But yeah, CM Punk was taking over. He made me want to watch wrestling again because at that time I think I was about to call it because it was
Yeah.
just the same thing over and over again. I was sick of the cartoon stuff, sick of the random GMs. What was it like the Muppets were there at one point? Like what the fuck? I don't want to see the Muppets.
The
You know?
anonymous GM.
Yeah, all that bull crap. Oh man, I was annoyed of that. But CM Punk is one of the reasons I stuck with it, and I enjoyed his work at that time. And then, I don't want to talk too much about it, but I also did enjoy his work at AEW. I know that ended horribly. That's just another story. But I did like his work. That made me get into AEW at the time, just
Mm-hmm.
because CM Punk was back. And then finally, CM Punk's run right now. It's still great because it's CM Punk. Obviously, he's not necessarily that big rebel anymore, just
Right.
because he's an event. He's a millionaire, but it's still great, and I'm excited. Hey, for WrestleMania against Roman Reigns,
Right.
it's gonna be fire. It's gonna be a great match. I'm excited for the promo battles, but CM Punk is my number 4 in the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I mean it's a good choice for sure. Like you touched on it a little bit, but that summer of Punk back in was it 2011? I feel like that definitely kept a lot of people entertained on a product that wasn't the greatest at the time.
Mhm.
There was a lot of Cena. The Rock was coming back. For some reason the Miz was a main eventer. you know, no hate
Hey, I
to
love
the
you, Miss,
no
but
hate to the Miz.
you were not
I
ready at that
love him,
time.
but he just wasn't ready at that time. So yeah, man, that summer of Punk definitely kept a lot of people entertained, and talked about it a little bit. But that match with Cena at Money in the Bank, and that was Cena's first 5-star match.
Yeah, with CM Punk.
I agree wholeheartedly with that rating right there. Going back to it even now, 15 years later, it still holds up 100%. There isn't many people on the planet that can go toe to toe with somebody like a John Cena or somebody like The Rock on the mic. But CM Punk is that guy. Back then I wasn't the biggest CM Punk fan. Especially when he first started to come out. When ECW became a thing again.
Yeah.
But he won me over with a lot of his promos. And I was really excited when he finally came back after 10 years of being gone. Was at Survivor Series? Was it 23?
23.
Yeah, Survivor
2020.
Series 23. And then he got hurt, which sucked because we were so excited for him to be at that WrestleMania. But then he goes on and has feud of the year with Drew McIntyre that ends in that fucking phenomenal
Oh,
Hell in a Cell match. So yeah, man. I mean, young CM Punk, old CM Punk. It doesn't matter. CM Punk is CM Punk. He still puts on bangers. Yeah, maybe he doesn't move as well as he used to. It's not as fluid, maybe a little bit not as smooth as it was, but I think that he somehow makes up for all of that. And like you said, I'm so excited for that match with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Um, the promos so far have been really, really good. And even dude, last year when they main evented night one and he had that whole video package, bro. When I go back and watch that even now, like I still get chills, you know. Um, yeah. So again, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think that's a really really good choice. So for my final pick here, for my number four, again, man, this is where it gets tough because there's so many people that I would love and love and love to talk about. You know, people that have kept me in love with professional wrestling. But again, like I prefaced at the beginning, what I believe is the best, where I believe that these four kind of are you know the ones that have at least for me, I'm going mostly off of their in ring work. Um, that where I believe that they are the best in the ring versus who I believe are my personal favorites. I'm trying to keep those separate right now. So as much as I would love to say John Cena, I can't right now. I think my number four, I'm gonna go with the only Olympic gold medalist to ever wrestle in WWE, and that's Mr. Kurt Angle. Going
Great
all the way back to you know his early days in the WWF, I guess at the time. Man, I have never seen anybody take to this art as quickly as Kurt Angle did. And not only that, but he was a technical machine. This guy could go forever if you let him. You know, he had all of that stuff in TNA that was just fucking phenomenal. You know, he was in TNA longer than he was in WWE, and a lot of people don't realize that. But a lot of his matches, you know, down in TNA were just incredible. Um, he didn't have the best WWE send off when he came back. You know, when he was the GM, but you know, pushing that off to the side a little bit. And going back to the bulk of his work in the WWE, man, it was just I hated this fucking guy. I hated him and you know, obviously looking back on it now that I'm older, like that's the emotion that he was trying to elicit from me. And there was only one other guy that was ever able to make me hate him probably as much as Kurt Angle, and that was Edge. But again, man, there was nobody that could work in the ring the way that Kurt Angle does. And then on top of that, he was fucking hilarious. Never, like he could be the scariest person that you'd want to see, like, or that you wouldn't want to see, I guess, you know, opposite side of the ring from you. But then at the same time, he could just be the most hilarious guy there is. There was that you know when John Cena debuted and he had the wig on, right, you know, right before he took it off when John Cena debuted, like that whole wig thing was hilarious. The milk stuff was hilarious. You know, the feud with Edge when the "You Suck" chant started was fucking hilarious. You know, there was the promos of Ray when he was like, I love playing with little boys. You know what I'm talking about? Like, bro, like nobody out there could have done that the way that Kurt Angle did and still take them as seriously as we did at Kurt Angle. Again, man, I'm still kind of sad about the way that his eventual send off happened. You know, having his last match with Baron Corbin. But regardless, man, just his career as a whole was just one of the best. And on top of that, you know, he won an Olympic gold medal with a broken freaking neck.
Yes.
I love
that.
You know, something that not many people out there can say. So yeah, man, Kurt Angle, I love to hate him. You know, I think that again, just going off of pure in-ring work here, it's hard to find many people on a technical level that are better than Kurt Angle.
No, that is the best. That's a great choice. Yeah, dude. Talking about let's talk a little more about Kurt Angle. What I love hearing his backstage stories. I remember one he was talking about that he got into a feud with Eddie Guerrero, right? That Eddie was mad about. I don't know about what, but he was angry. He was just angry, and he was just like trying to get down with anybody he saw. He tried to get down with Mr. Kurt Angle. dude, Kurt Angle just took him to the floor. Like, yo, like you can be angry, you can be Eddie Guerrero, but this is Kurt Angle, an
Right.
Olympic gold medalist. He took him down, and I'm just like, wow, like that's crazy. And another story too was about the with Brock, a young Brock, where they were saying they were telling Brock, hey, you think you can take on Kurt Angle? And then Brock was just, yeah, I can take on anyone, because he just came in very cocky, very arrogant, right? And I remember Kurt Angle just being, humble. He wasn't trying to get into anything. But, when someone calls you out, it's like, okay, let's see what's up. And I remember he was saying that, yeah, they had a little like scuffle in the backstage, and Kurt Angle got him. Like Kurt Angle got the best of him. He took him down. And I remember this line from Kurt Angle saying that, yeah, like, he's at the, and what was it? NCAA division?
champ,
like that? He's in that level. I'm at the Olympic level at wrestling. So he's like, that's a big difference. And I'm like, wow, like someone like that just take on Brock. Young Brock, old Brock was dangerous at any point in his life. But I really enjoyed that. And I honestly think that match that he had with Brock at WrestleMania 19 could have been like one of the best matches. It was just that ending that was very terrifying, very scary. I think that just kind of messed everything up. But I always enjoyed his matches against Brock, and he would come out saying that, yeah, when I'm fighting Brock, like we're wrestling. We're not, I understand this is entertainment, this is script. Now, when I'm with Brock, we're actually going at it, and I love that. You can see that.
Well, and then you think about a lot of his matches that he had, in the early 2000s, with a lot of, who are the legends now. Like you said, his match with Brock at WrestleMania 19, his match with Eddie at WrestleMania 20, his match with Shawn at WrestleMania 21. There was was it Royal Rumble? I don't remember the exact year, but his match with Toothless Aggression. There's just all of these matches that he's had throughout his entire career, man. It's just it's like I said, on a technical level, it's really hard to find somebody first that's better than a Kurt Angle, and then on top of that, find somebody who took to it as fast as Kurt Angle did. And then we look at his match at WrestleMania 22, the triple threat with Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton, when he came in as champ. You know what I mean? Again, just an amazing overall professional wrestler, an amazing amateur wrestler, obviously. Again, I love to hate the guy, but yeah, I would definitely put Kurt Angle as my number 4 in there for sure.
Do you remember when he first joined TNA? When it was being introduced that, oh, we have this new star coming, and then they would show promos, but they wouldn't show him quite yet. They would just kind of show like a
that was like
figure.
2007-ish, somewhere around there.
And I remember he came out, and it was against Samoa Joe, just face to face, and he headbutts Samoa Joe, and it makes him bleed, and then you just see Samoa Joe in the back just looking like a straight monster, and I'm like, yo, these guys are gonna kill. I thought they were gonna kill each other, watching that as a kid. I'm like, these guys are gonna kill each other. They should stop this, Oh, that's
man.
so.
It was, I mean, and there was a lot of the, unfortunate. I kind of don't want to say it out loud, but his personal issues that he was having at the time that. I guess helped him get to this crazy level, and like I'm not trying to make it sound like what he was doing was a good thing, because obviously it wasn't. But Kurt Angle during that period was on a completely different level, than we've ever seen. And yeah, man, I mean, again, his stuff in TNA, his stuff in WWE. He was on the Indies for a while. He had like a short little match with Joe Hendry at one point. I forget the promotion they were at, but yeah, man, it didn't matter where he was at. He was gonna put on banger after banger, and yeah, man, I love to hate the fucking guy, but I love him. So.
Mr. Kurt Angle, number 4 on Chris Agne's Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. So. Yeah, guys, I think that's our our tops for our Mount Rushmore. Again, I want to preface this by saying that just because our Mount Rushmore are these specific people doesn't mean that they're our all-time favorites. At least not in my personal opinion.
No, I agree too.
To me, John Cena's the GOAT, but I using the qualifications, I guess, for my personal Mount Rushmore. He just didn't qualify. I know that sounds kind of weird, but you know, it's just again the qualifications that I had for myself here.
Yeah, all good.
So yeah, that was it. That was you know, after the 3 count Mount Rushmore for each of us. Is there anything else that you would like to say before we sign off on here, Marvin?
Just to let you guys know again. So mine, it was Shawn Michaels. It was John Cena, Eddie Guerrero, CM Punk.
Yep.
Yeah, just to let the people know again.
And mine was the phenomenal AJ Styles, Eddie Guerrero, Io Sky, and Kurt Angle.
Awesome. But yeah, guys. Oh, my fault.
No, go for it. Go for it.
I don't know. I was just gonna send my finals, my send off. But if you got some more to say, we can keep talking, man.
No, that was it. Just go ahead.
All right. Yeah, right on, guys. Make sure to follow me at themboy7 on Instagram, and our YouTube is now called After the 3 Count. So make sure you guys are following us there. Again, we got plenty more videos coming your way. We have tomorrow. I have my Raw clips, and then my boy here, we're gonna team up one more time, and we're gonna talk about just wrestling, what happened during wrestling last week, and the episode of Raw. So just stay tuned. We got plenty of stuff coming your way.
Yep. Yeah, follow me at Chris Agony on Instagram. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say. Like you said, we're gonna kind of shift some stuff around, maybe not do full reviews of shows, but just kind of talk, this week in wrestling as a whole. So we'll try to cover as much as we possibly can. There was a AEW pay-per-view tonight that I've heard a lot of good things about. So unfortunately, I didn't get to watch it live, but maybe I'll have to go back and see some things. I don't know if you heard, but Ronda's back.
I don't know how I feel about that, but we can talk about that.
So yeah, we'll have to go back and we'll have to go back and watch some of that, and if we get to it, then we'll definitely talk about it some more tomorrow. Other than that, Arizona hit me up with the sponsor, man.
You guys are laggy. What are you doing?
But yeah, so I guess that's the show. We'll see you guys next time.
Cool. Later, guys.
Peace.